Hi, this is going to be a different review or video than what you're normally seeing on my channel, but I was approached with an offer to do a review on a coffee concentrate that I was interested in doing, or interested in trying at some point anyway, so I figured it would be a good chance to try the product and do a video going over how I feel about it. So I don't know if you've ever seen this product. I've seen it a couple different places, mainly on YouTube and then sometimes on Facebook. I actually saw Peter Mon do a review on it, and that is what piqued my interest in trying it. But it's called Javy coffee concentrate. It's essentially just a coffee concentrate. It's liquid. What drew me to this product is that I liked iced coffee. I'm not a big fan on hot coffee, and doing cold coffee or iced coffee is a little bit challenging because if you're doing a cold brew process, it takes a long time. You have to use a press, it gets messy, and then you're usually having to wait a little bit of time. It's a lot of hassle, to be honest, so I generally just don't do it. So something like this was interesting to me because you could just have your iced beverage, add the concentrate, and you have coffee. So I have tried this a few times before. I wanted to have a little bit of familiarity with the product before doing a video on it, and even though I was a little bit skeptical on it, because I'm not super picky about coffee, but I do have preferences. Like, I do not like Kona coffee, like the skunky kind of coffee, and I feared that this might be that, but thankfully it's not. It's actually good. And yeah, so I'm just going to go over on how I use it. This is just my preferred method. It's not the only method you can use, but it's just something that I've liked. So generally you just need some kind of measuring tool, or I guess you could just eyeball it and do it to taste if you prefer. But you can just use a teaspoon, tablespoon. I was using just like a regular spoon that you would eat with, and that works fine. But for the purposes of the video, to be a little bit more accurate, I'm using actual measuring spoons. So it recommends 1 to 2 teaspoons. I'm going to start with 2 teaspoons and we'll adjust if needed. And you just measure the product and put it into your beverage. Now I start off with, and I'll show you in a second, like 3/4 of the way full with iced water. And then I'll show you what I do in a second. But I literally just fill it 2/3 of the way. It's melted a little bit as I was preparing, setting up everything. But it's usually about like there. Full with ice water. And then I just mix it around, and then I top it off with cream, and then like whatever flavoring or sweetener that you would like. I'm just using half and half, and I just top it off. I like a lot of cream in my coffee. So a lot of these measurements and everything are just going to be something you have to figure out, because everybody likes their coffee a little bit differently. But that's about good. I just added the rest with half and half. And then what I also like to do, and this is what I do with any kind of iced coffee I use some kind of liquid sweetener flavoring product. This one's new because I was out of my old one. This is Tirani. I've tried a couple different ones. This one I do like quite a bit, and it's something that is fairly accessible, at least where I live. I got this from a local grocery store, but you can find it at Walmart and, various other places. And then this, again, is going to be dependent on your tastes, how sweet you like your coffee, that kind of thing. I like vanilla. It's just like my go-to. It's just regular vanilla syrup. I just add a little bit of it, and this is something I kind of have to do by taste. And that seems to be pretty good. The Tirani is pretty sweet, so I don't need a ton of it. Like, I literally just poured maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon in there. And then you just stir it around, and then you have your coffee. Something additional, and I just happen to have this because I use it for ice cream on occasion, is this Ghirardelli premium sauce caramel. It's a caramel topping, and you can put that in there if you like, because I do like Starbucks. So if I'm getting like a caramel frappuccino or something like that, I would use it in there. It's kind of like, gives like that caramel frappuccino type experience, but it's not necessary. Like, I don't know that I'm going to do it today. It will sweeten it up a bit, so just bear that in mind, that you don't want to be adding a ton of things like this on top of the, you know, flavoring, whatever. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, you can use this like with hot coffee, but again, I just don't really care for it. Some just random other facts about it. It's organic and non-GMO and gluten-free. You can get supposedly up to 30 servings. I will tell you, I've had, I'd say this is probably my 5th like serving of this, and it's down to about here. So, I mean, you do get a fair amount, and it really is going to depend on how frequently you drink coffee, how strong you make the coffee. Like I said, the 2 teaspoons was about what I would use for this serving size. Like, it's a good strength for me, but it's going to depend on your preferences. And yeah, but I mean, it's smooth, it's not bitter, doesn't have any weird aftertaste. Like, I don't really see anything wrong with it. The only thing I would recommend to them as a company is maybe having something a little bit more clean, because as you can see, it kind of just drips off the side. Like, every time I use it, it does drip a little, because you're pouring it into like some kind of spoon or whatever, and it's going to drip a little bit. It's not a huge deal, but coffee does stain, and it's just a little bit inconvenient. Something that they might want to look into is they have like large dropper things that you could send with the product, and that way when you get the product, you can take this cap off and replace it with a little dropper, and that way you're, you know, just dropping the product into it with the dropper applicator and not having to use a spoon where you're going to be messing around with it. That's really the only complaint I could see with this. I'm going to put the link below so you can check them out if you want to. But yeah, I do like the product. It has a good amount of caffeine in it. It says it has 80 milligrams per teaspoon, so this would be 160 for me, and that's about where I'm at caffeine wise, because I usually have like a Monster in the morning, and those are about that, you know, strength. But I mean, you can kind of tailor it to what you would like caffeine wise, but it's going to change the strength of the coffee as well. But anyway, that's about all I got. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, etc., you can put them in the link below.